What is going on, everybody? It's Nothing But Skills, and in today's video we're going to be talking about seasons. Yes, seasons, the Division 2, and we're going to be talking about a build you can use. Now if we go into season, you're going to see that we have completed stage 10 for all the missions. So we have 3 missions you have to complete on challenging, and you have to complete it within a certain time to get that stage 10, right? And then one of them, the hardest, is probably going to be heroic Roosevelt Island, which isn't too hard. Now there are some pretty cool rewards for doing this, and that's why you do want to participate in this league activity. It is 1 week. You have 1 week to finish this off. I think I have 5 days remaining. There are a total of 10 ranks. So once you get to rank 9, you'll get that exotic cash, and then the last one you get a really cool backpack trophy. Now let's focus on the missions with the time, right? So stage 10 for each mission. And what is the best build you guys should be running, because this can get pretty close if you aren't running the right builds, and if you make mistakes there can be a lot of things that change your gameplay. Suppressing the enemy, what you'll notice is when you run LMG builds, you tend to suppress them a lot. So I figured out after trial and error that the fastest and best build is going to be a rifle build. So I'm going to show you guys the exact build right here, so that way you guys can get stage 10 on everything. So the build I recommend is going to be this rifle build. If you guys watched my previous video on the PvE, I just made a couple little tweaks to it. So if you want a slower breakdown of it, that's going to be on that channel. Now I'll do a quick run through of it. I am running the Baker's Dozen. It gives me rifle damage, critical hit damage, and health damage. Now if you have a regular M1A, you could probably run that perfectly fine. I personally like the Baker's Dozen because it does have perfect lucky shot on that. That magazine capacity increased by 30%. Missed shots from cover have a 100% chance to return to the magazine. So 100% really like that. Now the way I do have this modded is it has a C79 scope with crit chance. We have the magazine with 5 rounds, and then we do have a laser pointer with 5% crit chance. So I'm running essentially 10% crit chance and an additional 5 rounds. Now for my secondary, you can run any LMG. I have the Bullet King, so I'm running that. But if you want something as a substitute for the Bullet King, the IWI with steady handed works really good, because you get 150 rounds. If you hit 100 shots, it automatically reloads and you don't even have to stop firing. So either one of these will actually be pretty good for you guys to put in your arsenal. Now the reason why a rifle build is really good is because it doesn't suppress the enemy. I tried this with LMG builds, with AR builds, and they seem to suppress the enemy a lot. But rifle builds don't. So let's go through the build real quick. I am running a 3-piece Providence. So I have a core attribute right here of weapon damage, critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and then we ran a mod of critical hit damage on here. So we are running the 3-piece Providence, the headshot damage, the crit chance, and critical hit damage. So ideally, if you guys watch my other rifle build, you kind of remember this a little bit. Now for the chest piece, another Providence piece, we have weapon damage on here. We have critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and then we put a mod on there for 6% crit chance. We have glass cannon, so all damage you deal is amplified by 25%, but all damage you intake is amplified by 50%. For the holster, we're running the Cheska holster, 10% crit chance. We have weapon damage, critical hit damage, and then headshot damage on this holster. For the knee pads, the name knee pads, you can buy these right now at the clan vendor level 30. I recommend getting them. They come with damage to targets out of cover, with weapon damage, and crit chance is how I have it rolled. These are the Fox Prayer knee pads. Now we get into the gloves, the Petrov name gloves, contractor gloves. These come with damage to armor. I have weapon damage on there and critical hit chance rolled on both. And then for the backpack, our final piece of Providence, weapon damage, critical hit damage. We have explosive resistance. I would like to get critical hit chance there. Then we have critical hit damage rolled on there with vigilance. Increase total weapon damage by 25%. But if you do take damage, it disables this buff. Now you can put perfect vigilance on the backpack and perfect vigilance on the chest if you get those. So for the skills, a reviver hive and then a fixer drone. The 2 skills I run with this build. Now like I said, the reason why rifle builds are so good is they hit hard, but they also do not suppress the enemy. And suppressing the enemy can keep the enemy in cover, making that time on the left go up. If you look, the time on the left is constantly going up, and the faster we can kill all the enemies around us, the better it will be. Now I think ideally doing this solo or in a duels is probably going to be your best bet, because there's just enough enemies that both of you guys can drop this guy pretty quick. So that's just something for you guys to keep in mind when you guys are running this build. But this is 100% the build that I got stage 10 on everything. Now once you complete all 3 missions on challenging, and then you complete Roosevelt Island on heroic, you do still have to do 2 other things. The one other thing you need to do is outcast members burned. So that means we need to burn up to 500 to get to stage 10. Yes, the final stage is 500. But this one is pretty easy, really easy to do. So first thing I recommend doing is changing your world activity and going to the global world activity and changing it to normal, because you can do this on whatever you want, but burning them is a lot easier to do on like normal, right? Because it's less likely chance if you're gonna die. Then I would recommend going to your skills, putting on your skill build. This doesn't even have to be a status effect skill build, just a regular skill build that hits hard. That's skill tier 6. You probably don't even need that. Then I would recommend either putting on a flame turret. So you're either gonna wanna put on a flame turret, or you're gonna wanna put on these airburst secret mines. But instead of these airburst secret mines, I'm gonna end up putting on the chem launcher, and I'll show you in a second. So for the turret, you definitely wanna run the flame turret. And then instead of these secret mines that you see that I'm about to switch up, we're gonna put the chem launcher, the fire starter. This is amazing because the cooldown time is really low on it if you have a average skill build, and you can just spam these, and I'll show you how it works. So the fire starter is going to be really good because since we don't have to kill them with the burn, we just have to burn them. All you have to do is spread it out, shoot it, and then it's going to burn all of them. That simple. Look how many we just stacked up. There was like 6, 7 guys there, and I was just doing a random event, right? So you just have to find the outcast event that are on your map. Control points works really good. Even just doing random events, the missions is really good. If you do it on normal, you're gonna be able to burn all these people. And with the fire starter, it makes it so easy to do. And then if they do rush you, throw out your flame turret. Just throw out your flame turret. Use your fire starter if you want to, and then it just more fire all over the place, and you'll continue to get these, and you'll have this knocked out in no time. Remember, you have a full week to do this. Now, the only other thing we have to do besides this is kill elites enemies. So that is gold or named enemies. Those are counted as elite, and you have to do 250. I would recommend don't focus on this. Focus on doing those missions, getting that stage 10 on all of them. And before you know, I want to say I was already stage 7 of this, just doing the missions alone. And then once I finished the missions, then I started doing control points. So now I'm at stage 8, and I've only spent maybe 3 hours on this really. So that's why I'm telling you guys can knock this out pretty quick just with farming some control points, doing those real world activities. You really don't have to focus on it. And right now I'm doing a heroic control point. I would recommend sticking to challenging and heroic if you can. If you can't, then I understand. But those are going to give you more elites. Those are going to give you more of those just regular gold enemies without having to fight a lot of bosses. Because you do get 2 bosses in heroic right at when you're defending and then right when you're capturing. So you get 2, but you also get a lot of gold enemies, and that's what's really good about this. Now I am using that build I told you guys to run. You can run any build at this point. It really doesn't matter, but I still think rifle builds are really good for dropping those harder targets to hit. But I do like taking over these control points with my LMG build. My LMG build is still my favorite build to do. I just feel that for those challenging and heroic time missions, rifles just put out that precise damage, and it allows them to not be suppressed. And when they're not suppressed, it doesn't take out time away from you. So definitely test out that rifle build if you're struggling to get the time for stage 10 on those missions. And doing it in solos and in duels is probably going to be your best bet instead of doing it in a 4-man group. So just split up your team. If you have 4 guys, have 2 guys do it. I mean, you could do it together in a group, but I still think 1 to 2 man group is probably going to be the best bet to knocking those out. And then to get these elite named enemies, just farming control points, reward activities, and then target farm stuff. Like, I know a lot of you guys don't have your builds complete, so don't waste your time knocking this out. Instead, look for an outcast mission. Yes, an outcast mission that has the loot that you're looking for. You can farm the loot you want, and you can knock these out because there's going to be enough gold enemies in there if you're running challenging and heroic. But before you know it, you will have all 250 targets knocked out. But I hope this video was informative. I hope this helps you guys out getting that 1 exotic cache, getting that backpack trophy, and of course, knocking out Westside League and getting 100% complete. I really recommend you guys trying out that rifle build. I think you guys will enjoy it. If you guys have any questions on this, still use the comment section down below. As always, definitely check out my Discord, a great place to communicate with the division. 2 community. We have, I think, over 5,000 members, maybe 4,000 members. I forget. We keep growing daily, but check that out. I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you guys again for all the support, but until the next one, Nothing But Skills is out.